This is the sound of someone getting the most out of a summer day. So is this. Because for some, summer days were made for adventure. At the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event, you'll find great deals on our entire line of leading-edge hybrids, each with the power and range to help you get the most out of your summer. But hurry, the sale ends September 7th. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer. Click the banner to discover more.
Action Park
Media.
Hi, I'm Ethan Suplee. Welcome to American Glutton. Outside of acting, my two favorite things to do are diet and eat. I have a very complicated relationship with food, and on this podcast, we're going to talk about all of it. Food as entertainment, food as sport, food as fuel. I'll talk to experts and the average person, just like you and me.
I hate to ask you to do anything, but if you're enjoying this show, please take a moment to like, subscribe, rate, review, all of the above on whatever app you're getting it from. Today I'm talking to Albert Hammond Jr. He is a guitarist, singer, and songwriter, first member of the Strokes to embark on a solo career. You can find Albert at Albert Hammond Jr. on Instagram.
The lesson I've learned in playing music is you just always, I know it's a joke in Tenacious D, but you just always record.
Yeah.
Because it's always like someone does like a happy accident and like, you got that, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't remember what it was. It's like, you weren't recording?
Yeah.
It was funny you bring that up because I was just thinking in the shower, I was just thinking what you were going to ask me and what I was going to say. And then I thought, it's funny these discussions, because you ask a question, you haven't thought about it like a whole day or two to really think what I really think. I'm just going to answer you by things I'm feeling or in the moment where I'm at. And I just thought it was funny that when you said you could get yourself in trouble, like discussions, the point is that you change what you think, or, anyways, right? You would in life anyways.
I fucking hope so.
Yeah, it'd be weird if...
That's what I think it is. I think we're having a conversation about ideas kind of within the realm of health and fitness and what we want to do with our bodies and stuff like that. But it can be anything we want. And I don't think anything should be held. We're getting into a weird thing now where there's like retroactive punishment for ideas that are considered bad. And I just think that stifles growth. If we're all just
there is no growth in that.
Yeah, we have to be locked into something that has always been the same kind of like idealistic thing.
But that's impossible though.
I think so too.
I have that in conversation when someone like says something as though I should know what it is, and maybe I don't because it's new and like I want to know, but then I feel like an idiot.
Yeah.
So I just don't say anything.
Right.
'Cause I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah. I never know anything. Like I'm just like, here's what I did. This is my experience. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if any of it's true.
I know, but if someone shows you, then you change and learn. I think changing, learning, and then you hand that down, and so then the person below you is more ahead, and then they'll eventually be behind as well.
Yeah.
But
we reach a period, and I kind of love talking about diet and exercise, and I think it's kind of a loose metaphor for everything in life, specifically because in Los Angeles, of all places, where there is such like dogmatic health ideas, you have these factional camps which are jockeying to say this is the best and only way to do anything. And I look at them and think of them as like political teams who are like, at the extremes, it's like vegans versus carnivores, right? And this is like the extreme left wing versus the extreme right. And I'm not saying which is which, but the difference is at the end of the day, the shit that they're advocating for is never going to be violently enforced on anyone. You know what I mean? Like politics at the end of the day, you're playing for something real. One team wins and then all of their beliefs win ultimately. Not really. I don't think that's really how politics works.
yeah, maybe not
Not really.
to that extreme.
But like the idea is we're going to tell you what's right. And then 51% of the people are going to choose it. And then we're going to have a military and a police force to enforce it. And I'm like, That's fucking crazy. I think that's insane. Like, if we were dealing with diet culture and you got 51% of the people to say, like, veganism is the way, then we all have to be vegans. And it's like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So I kind of am interested in, like, every whack job fucking nutritional scheme. And I'm not going to have people in here and say, you're wrong for these reasons, because maybe it works for somebody. And at the end of the day, there's nobody holding a gun to their head to do it. It's up to the individual to go, like, yeah, I'm going to try that.
It's funny you say that, though. It's like I'm perfect to talk about this because I've tried so many things and I love all of it. It's like it's weirdly a form of discipline for me in understanding my body. And I've been like, this past decade, I've like, I dove into it from not knowing anything, and I wish I could go back and be like, no, of course, why did you hurt yourself? You weren't eating right, and you were trying to do this. Like, no wonder this happened. But yeah, it's fascinating.
Do you find navigating that stuff that the only way to like figure out if it works is by doing it?
You see, that's the most frustrating part, is that you don't know until you do it, and you kind of have to trust. And doing it means like 8 weeks, not like you're not going to notice in a week. You might notice a day you eat something and you're like, oh, I had more energy or I feel better. But to really like make that connection with your mind, it's like even with your muscles, it takes time to feel a muscle out. Sometimes you're just like do exercise and you're like, oh, I'm doing it. And you're like using a wrong muscle. You're not really focused.
Yeah.
Same thing comes with food. So yeah, that was what frustrated me at the beginning. I just wanted an answer. I would do whatever you tell me. Just tell me it's going to work and I'll do it. But I need to know before I commit.
Yeah.
Because then you do it for a bunch, and if you fail, I would kind of lose hope.
Yeah. I was the exact same way. Like, tell me the plan. Tell me it's the absolute plan.
Yeah.
And I'm fucking in. And a little bit of it was faith and like trying to like keep the idea of placebo out of my head, because I always go like, I don't want it to be belief, and placebo is all some kind of a belief structure. So
Sure.
if we believe enough for a percentage of people, it works. And I go like, no, I want it to be absolute. So I'm not going to think about this. I'm just going to buy in and fucking disregard the idea that it could be bullshit and it's only working because I want it to, or I think it, or I believe it.
A little bit of is naturally that though too. Like you can't go to the gym. You can't go to the gym or do exercises or be disciplined in food and not believe that it's going to help, or that you would lose the want to do it, or the drive has to be so strong.
Yeah.
And eventually, that's the whole thing why I stopped ever saying diets, is like diet breaks, like life changes stick with you more. Like, what are you trying to do really? What are you trying to accomplish? The bigger goal. Don't just look at these small little pockets, because I feel like that's when you like yo-yo.
Yeah.
And that almost becomes worse.
Way worse.
That's like when it's like if you're hungover and you're like, I'm never going to drink again, or just don't drink that much.
Right. Yeah,
just
exactly.
Tone it down just a little bit.
Yeah. And for me, that hangover would be, the first thought is don't drink again. And then the second thought is, but if I drink now, it's going to cure this hangover. So I should just start now. And then you're just stuck in this cycle of like,
I've done that too.
It's awful.
Yeah. That discovery is pretty fascinating, though, when you're like, oh, wait, if I just never stop, then
then I don't experience this.
But the downside is so much darker.
Yeah. The day you stop, you're fucked. And by the way, of all the things that you can have withdrawal from quitting, like alcohol is one of the scariest.
For sure. But having like toned all that down in my life, I still notice it. Like food has become my new version of that.
Yeah.
Like the way I'll crave certain things, or like, if I were to like, I don't do cleanses where I stop eating, but let's say I stop eating certain things to kind of cut it out for a little bit, or I have psoriasis, so sometimes I'll have to stop eating stuff to see if it takes it away. And like I go, I'll start crying. Like I've cried at night. I thought my life was over on the day 3 of this. Like I was still eating food. It wasn't like I still had calories.
Yeah.
It was just like no sugar and something else. And I was like, I was a basket case.
Yeah. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. I have some kind of a weird association with every time I go into an extreme diet, something is triggered where I have all these physical feelings that remind me of the last time I was in rehab. And it's got to be a really extreme diet. But like I feel like grief.
That's exactly what it is. Yes.
Yeah, there's grief involved, and
it feels heavier than it should, right?
Oh my God!
You're
it's
like,
the world is ending. You know, you've lost your best friend, and you're like, no, it's just food. What's happening? This is like illogical. I hadn't had that in years because I've really become like super moderate with my diet, and then in order to get like this picture of me with my shirt off, which I was super nervous about, the guy training me was like, we're going to do a peak week, which is what he does. And he's a professional bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And so a lot goes into that last week where you like increase your water, decrease your salt. And the minute I was at like 0 supplemental salt, it was as though the world ended. I was like, how is this possible? It's just salt. And I'm eating a ton of food, but I felt like,
you had no salt?
I mean, there's a little bit of salt in everything.
Sure.
Not a drop of soy sauce, of table salt, nothing extra. And I was, not only was I lightheaded, but it was also as though my dog had just been shot. Like I felt like the world was
salt
ending.
is so important
for
you. I just see this chiropractor, doctor guy who's like, looks at my blood, and he was just saying how important, you know, good salts are and how demonized they are, but how like they actually help retain water, your energy, all this stuff. And I started to increase it, and I just started feeling better.
Oh,
I've been just going on runs now, and I was like,
dude,
oh my God, that's not all I needed.
Yeah, this was not at all like, I eat too much salt, I need to reduce. This was literally
this
like,
is I know you want to
here's how you get the best looking picture.
Yeah.
You have.
I know, but isn't that like somewhat? I remember when someone told me, because I would see photos and I'd be like, cool, I want to work out and try to get to that. And those are moments.
Yeah.
No one lives those photos you see, and it's like it's fun to get to, I guess, personally, but it's funny that it's before you know, it's perceived as though like that's how you can live.
Yeah.
And it's like it took me a long time. I'm not a very moderate person, so I always try to live in being moderate.
Yeah.
I need to go to an extreme to understand moderation. Cool, I can have a little here and a little here. And I'm like constantly want to just like, when can I binge though?
Yeah, me too.
And it's like always controlling that.
Yeah.
But then that happens even with like wanting in exercise. You know, it's like, okay, I need to recoup too. I need to love myself. Another, you know, it's not just about going to the gym. I need to then take my sleep well.
Yeah.
You know, like I wasn't sleeping well or.
I love David Goggins. Do you know David Goggins?
No.
Do you know who he is? He's like a former Navy SEAL who I think was fat before he was the Navy SEAL, and he's just like, I think I'm gonna butcher this, so but he's just like, shut up, bitch. Like that's his quote, you know, and he's talking to himself, I think. And he's like,
well, we hope.
yeah, he's like, I'm gonna run 100 miles for 20 days in a row or something like that. It's all very extreme. And I understand the point in my life where I'm not doing enough. I understand that. But I also understand when I get a hair up my ass to need a change that I'm more than likely going to go so far into the extreme that it's not sustainable at all. And so while I love him and I get fired up by him, I agree with you entirely. I think for me, the most rational place is moderation. What can I do in the gym 6 days a week for the rest of my life?
Exactly. That's the thing, is because it feels good to go and you get a rush from it, and it's healthy and blood moves, and that's the most important thing in the body is moving blood anyways. How do you sustain that?
Yeah.
So you don't, because it seems like we can both crash hard, because then we're like, okay, let's push it. And then you're going to hit a wall. And then when you hit the wall, you're like, I don't ever want to do it again. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm going back to this other side because this clearly doesn't work. But it's because we just
Or I wind up in the hospital and I've like
right.
blown
And then
out
you
my
can't-
knee,
right,
blown out
right.
my
unnecessarily
bicep.
though, when you're
Yeah.
just like, right, that's right. You blew out your bicep when I. Oh man, I remember that.
That sucked, dude. It was like everything's great. I'm on a tear. I'm starting. I'm like, I had the world solved, and I was like, I'm gonna go so hard. I'm gonna be an animal. Boom, I'm out. Okay, you're not allowed to go to the gym. You know, and to be fair, I could have gone and done legs every day, but I was kind of like, I'm injured.
I mean, it's easier to look back and say that. I understand that. I had neck surgery, and I still have like some numbness in my finger. I had atrophy in like my lat and my pec and my tricep, and it was like, man, it was really hard to want to keep working because I couldn't do it, and I was worried I was going to hurt myself, and then I was like, I was stuck with so many different emotions with food and then with the drugs they give you and needing to like, I had to write everything down because I wanted to make sure that it was like being, it's fine if you have to take something for a reason.
Sure.
I think it's good, but it's very easy to forget. You're like, did I take 4 Percocets or 3? I think I only took 1.
Yeah.
So it was like a challenge to get back to, kind of being, God, I'm really switching. I'm just really like being okay with myself and where I can go and like long term sustaining. Like it's okay. I don't need to be. I'm not perfect today or tomorrow. Like it's a like enjoy the process. Basically, I wasn't enjoying the process. It was like either I'm great or I suck.
Right.
And why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And that's too harsh.
No, those are the extremes that for me, there's really only a very narrow space in between those two extremes. And each one of those are quick paths to my downfall. If I'm feeling myself so much and so happy, like have some big success, that's as easy a reason to derail whatever I'm doing as like a big disaster. Either one of them are total failure zones for me. And so like this very thin margin and surgeries, like I had to learn, I'm a sober person, but I had a deviated septum repaired, and we thought like, oh, he's been sober for a while, it's fine. Okay, he takes Vicodin for this. And it was like at the end of day 1, I'd taken all my Vicodin that were supposed to last like 2 weeks or something. Yeah. And then I'm calling and going like, you didn't give me enough, like what's happening? And he was like, that was supposed to last you forever and for the whole time. You don't need more. And I'm like, give me more. He gives me more. And then it's like, oh, this is an issue. So then I have my knee surgery, and my wife is like, I will dole out your pills. And for the first like 2 days, I've got my eye on the clock and I'm going like, it's been 4 hours, give me a pill. And she's giving them to me. And then like 2 days later, I'm rifling through her closet looking for the pills. Like, where'd you hide my fucking pills? Because I'm just going to fucking down the bottle. And then it was just like, this is not worth it. So on my bicep, I just went in and was like, no opiates while I'm unconscious. And that tripped them out. They were like, well, we give you opiates while you're unconscious. And I was like, figure it out. Give me something else. Give me ketamine. I don't care, but no opiates. I don't want to wake up craving opiates. So they did that.
They give you opiates when you're passed out?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No wonder.
They give you fentanyl.
I woke up crying.
Yeah. Yeah. You're fucking like, you're high and you're going through stuff. And then after, you're sitting in the ICU, I guess, recovery or whatever it is, and they're checking you out and they're telling my wife, like, here's the pain medicine. And I was like, no, we're not doing that. And the doctor said, you're going to be in a lot of pain when all the anesthesia wears off. And I was like, it's not worth it. So that's the one place where I don't know. I haven't ever found that kind of moderation. I just like the minute it hits my system, and this was like my fear too with carbohydrates when I was not eating them for so long, because I'm such a drug
carbohydrates
addict, like rice.
Right.
My fear was the minute I take a bite of rice, I'm going to be at, Yoshinoya just ordering fucking bowls of the stuff, picking apart sushi to eat the rice. Like that was my fear, and it didn't happen. But for some reason...
No, I understand that fear. I can go, no like little sweets or desserts, and I'll be like, oh, cool, we're having a thing. Like, of course, you made that. I'll have a little slice. And like, it's hard for me sometimes to, like, people are okay with having the slice. I'm like, I want to finish the whole thing. It's a weird thing that I feel, I mean, you totally understand it. You can,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, what you want to satiate, but it never, that part still scares me. Like, I still like have to super control that.
Yeah, it's for sure more manageable. I had just never had success with drugs of like, take a pill when you need a pill. That hasn't worked for me. The amount of stress I feel when it's like a dessert and I go, I'm going to have a bite of that. It's constant tension to just have the bite. I'm easy at measuring out my rice and not going back for another serving of rice. That doesn't seem to be an issue for me right now.
The prep, measuring and stuff, I mean, that's like, I loved that. It just went well with my personality. Like, it was like, cool, my allotted thing, like I figure out, I can drink water in between. I know what I'm doing. I have a goal because of it. And I guess the biggest thing for me was learning how to do that and then like ease it a little bit, just because, everyone hates you when you do it. It's really funny. You're just like, I'm doing this for my health. Like, you piece of shit. You're like, no, but I feel better like this. Like,
you bastard.
So many people gave me shit. I was like, what are you doing? You don't even know what you're doing. And I was like, all right, but like, I feel better though. No, is it not?
Yeah.
I don't know if people gave you, or you can't, when you're going out, you're like, no, I had my thing. So I want to hang out with you guys, but I'm not going to like do anything. And just like,
my kids and my wife have a lot of, but I can't imagine how they perceive me today through all of the craziness that I've done. Like, my kids have only known a guy who's been like extreme diets or like, we're gonna pillage downtown Los Angeles tonight. We're gonna go to 4 restaurants because I want a bite from every place. And then I wind up eating 4 meals. And my kids at the last 3 are just like sick. Like, what are we doing? This is insane. So I'm really extreme guy.
Yeah.
Moderation has only, like, when I started eating rice, it had been so many years of no carbs for me that my kids would watch me eat rice like slightly mystified, like, whoa, this is so weird. Funny. Yeah.
But how do you feel now then with like the discipline you put in? Do you find that it's like you're just more aware of where your mind's going? I mean, that's basically why we're doing it, right? To keep the mind on track.
100%. Yeah, for sure. And now I feel like I can go to any restaurant and figure out a meal that I'm happy with, that I'm not going to feel guilty about.
Oh, the guilt. You see, it's like just like doing drugs. It's like you just like shame yourself into like nothing. So you can't even enjoy when you're trying to enjoy.
Right.
Then you just like, what have I done? I've ruined everything. Everything I've ever done is gone.
Yeah. And that was me in the beginning of reintroducing carbohydrates. There was just such an association of guilt that it was fucking bizarre, dude. It was really bizarre. But now I do, moderation has won. And I took one of my kids about a year ago to McDonald's because she had never had McDonald's French fries. And I was like, oh, they're by far the best French fries. Let's go try them.
Disagree, but we can get
okay,
on that.
Let's talk about it. I raised her saying McDonald's is poison.
Yeah.
And she believed that. But she also believed that when I told her that shampoo was the fecal matter of these little creatures called shams, which they kept, and they just used them to get their poo, and then we washed our hair with it.
That's how you clean yourself.
Yeah. And she's a moron. But she was only 3 when I told her that, but she believed it for a couple of years,
Oh my God, I wonder at school if she just has moments where she's like, shit, shampoo.
What else did he tell me that's just a lie?
What a good tale, though. It's not so much a lie. It's like a myth. It's just like
created
fun.
this mythical thing.
It seems more fun.
Yeah, and the tooth fairy and shams and all of this stuff.
It seems just as crazy. The Easter bunny, what the hell is that? They leave chocolate eggs? I don't even understand.
I used to tell my kids that the Easter bunny shit the chocolate out. It wasn't that it
You
was
like
laying
the poo
eggs.
things, didn't you?
I really wanted to just kind of taint these things.
Taint.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's good now that, well, okay, what's the best French fry? I'm stuck on this.
I'm not saying that I understand the salty McDonald fry. I get it.
Okay.
It's like, it is delicious. I just find In-N-Out fries to be my favorite.
You're putting In-N-Out.
Miles above.
Okay, here's all I would say.
Okay.
You get a thing of McDonald's fries.
Yeah.
You take them home. They're in a bag, steaming.
Yeah.
You take them out of the bag. They're still crispy.
Yeah, that's weird.
In-N-Out's fries
I know that I understand.
are practically mashed potatoes at that point.
Sure, but I'm judging them at peak. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay, so like the lady hands you the fries, or the guy, whoever hands you the fries,
very, very good of you.
Yes.
Could be either.
and in that moment, you're putting the fries in your mouth. I posit that by the time you're done eating the fries,
No, but just the taste of the potato is so good.
okay,
The saltiness and the thing with McDonald's fries, the front taste is immediate and amazing and salt. The aftertaste of whatever oil they use is not as satisfying to me at the end.
yeah,
Like I still think I've tried all these different burgers. I guess burgers ended up becoming like my cheats. You know?
Right.
Whenever I want to go splurge somewhere, I'd go have a burger. And I still think In-N-Out is up there. I've tried all these new burgers and they're just like,
Have you tried Burgers Never Say Die?
is that pop-up one that I
It's in Silver Lake. Okay.
okay.
Burgers
Okay.
Never Say Die. So imagine if God himself made a McDonald's cheeseburger, a McDonald's double cheeseburger.
Yeah.
You ate that when you were a kid,
Yeah, of
right?
course, yeah.
So there's something,
I grew up in the 80s, man. Come on.
yeah, there's
Of course I ate
something
McDonald's.
artificial about a McDonald's cheeseburger.
Yeah.
But there's like the perfect amount of ketchup and the little cubed onions that are like
Everyone's copying the
wilted.
Big Mac. It's not like two.
Yeah.
It's not like
Exactly. Burgers Never Say Die has made this. It's flawless. Their fries are cooked in beef fat. I don't know what that means other than they feel like slightly worse for me, and
They
so
definitely
I
are.
love it, you know. And then they have Carvel ice cream too. So it's like just three perfect things. You got to try it on your
burgers
next
never
cheat.
say die.
Yeah.
I
Really
actually
phenomenal.
prefer, speaking of that, when I got into it, I actually preferred giving myself a treat and not being able to do it all the time. I actually was like happier as a person. It made me realize that, I guess that makes sense. It's not like instant satisfaction, you know, like I'm going to have whatever I want, whenever I want it.
Right.
And you need to like go through the week.
Yeah.
And then it's hard at first, and then it becomes not that bad, really.
Yeah. My cheats have become 4 times a year, and I include like Christmas as a cheat.
Well, yeah, it's
And that's times where I eat stuff I really don't normally eat. But even like the other times, Christmas, I really want to sit down and have a meal that I'm not
thinking about.
worrying
Yeah, you want
about.
to sit with the family and just have a meal.
Yeah, whatever I want to eat that night.
Yeah.
I always feel like shit the next
I
day.
know, but I feel like that's almost good though,
Yeah.
because that's like a reminder. It's okay to like do stuff that might have an effect if you understand the effect, and then you like don't keep doing it. Because that's kind of happened too. As I got older, I was like, oh, that makes me feel bad. I can't do that all the time. Or like, even though maybe my mind wants to do it more,
Yeah.
that was like a big part of it. Because I still like doing the gym and eating has become like my meter if I'm falling off. You know, it's the same way like if I don't make my bed.
Yeah.
It's just like little things where you're like, well, I haven't made my bed in a week. Am I doing something wrong?
Right. What's going on?
Did I
with me?
slip? Did I go? Because there's like those little things where you take care of yourself, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Does your wife play a part in keeping you consistent with this?
Yeah. I mean, she's like, she does. It can be frustrating sometimes because she's the kind of person who's like, likes working out, very much in shape, and can like cheat a lot more, and you don't notice anything. You
Yeah.
can just like, I mean, I have friends who can eat pizza and drink Coke, and I would have that twice, and I just like all of a sudden I'm starting to like I don't fit in my clothes.
Yeah.
But no, she's she really helps because she helps keep that bad version, my shadow, basically a little bit in line.
Yeah.
Like, don't beat yourself up so much. Like you're getting there. Give it time.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. I think about this with making my bed, specifically because if I don't make my bed, my side of the bed, it's kind of like she gets up on her side, I get up on my side. And if she comes home and her side is made, which happens before she walks into the bathroom to do anything else, and she sees like when we're getting into bed that my side is still disheveled, she's pissed, And that's happened. And I feel shitty about it. But it's gotten to the point where like now if she goes out of town, which she does sometimes for work, I make sure to not disturb her side of the bed just because I don't want to have to make it. You know what I mean? And then I feel guilty and lazy about this, but I'll like just peel back my covers, make sure not to disturb a single one of her, and like slip in, like, hotels,
yeah, of
they're
course.
tucked in. I like try to keep it as tucked in as possible so that I'm doing less work when she's not around, which I then also feel guilty about.
I'm like weirdly, that makes it makes sense. I'm weirdly very neat.
Yeah.
Like to the point where I probably bother. They always say like,
you're keeping her in line.
Yeah, they say like, oh, when a man gets married, that's when like everything gets in order. I feel like it's the opposite happened. Everything was in order, and I got married, and it was just like, why are there shoes there? Or why are you put that stuff there? Just put it away.
Yeah,
that's like me.
This is hilarious because I am like leave shit wherever, and my wife is very much put shit away, and yet there will be like a table in the dining room where her purse goes, but God forbid I put my backpack on it. She will walk in and say like, why is your backpack there? Put it away. And I'm like, but your purse is here. This is like a male purse, is it not? Why can't
That's
it
her
go
spot,
here?
though.
That's her spot, but I don't get a spot. Do you understand?
Well, you could if you made it. When's her birthday?
December 13th.
Oh, so no connection there. I just always wondered if it was I do have spots for stuff, for sure.
I'm now imagining.
And I think if someone put their stuff in my spot, I'd be like, why is it there?
Right. I'm now going to give her for her birthday, I'm going to get a new little table to go next to her purse table, and it will be my backpack table. And
That's for her birthday?
Yes, this will be my contribution to her birthday. See, I've organized, I've given myself a spot, so I'll never take your spot again. It's not going to go over well.
I had a question. When you make, it's not going to go over well. When you make meals, do you only make it for yourself? Do you make it for her? Or?
I try to meal prep for myself at least like 3 days in advance. And right now I'm eating trifecta food. So I get it in bulk. So I just get packages of protein, packages of carbs, packages of vegetables, which I can throw into containers in the proportion that I want, in the portion.
Oh, it already comes cooked.
It's all cooked. Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
It's like meal delivery, but I'm just getting, instead of like some companies will do, here's your breakfast.
Yeah.
I'm just getting like 2 pounds of chicken, right?
And you can have it whenever you want.
Whenever I want.
Yeah. You divide it up.
I divide it up. So I don't actually wind up cooking that much right now. But when I did, she would always want me to make extra for her. And when I cook dinner, the idea for me, it's probably because I have 4 kids, but the idea of making separate meals for people drove me crazy.
Oh, no, that's why I'm
little.
That's why I'm asking you, because I just like, it was hard.
It's psychotic. Like, one person doesn't like this one thing, so suddenly you're doing it. And then when the other person sees that, oh, that person's getting something else, well, I want something else, it starts a chain reaction. And
what did you do for that?
I just got very authoritarian and said, this is a dictatorship and this is what's for dinner.
Yeah, this is good, eat it.
Yeah.
I know I always got, like, my kid's really picky. It's like, until they're hungry.
Right.
Sorry, I feel like I'm going to get my child taken away from me for saying that.
No. Yeah, there was a guy recently who had a thing I read there where he like live tweeted, like, my kid's hungry. I told her to figure out using the can opener to open a can of soup. It took her 9 hours, but she did it. And like the guy got in trouble. It seems extreme. I also would say that I doubt that any kid in America who's got a house and a can of food and a can opener and a parent watching is at the risk of going into like malnutrition in the course of 9 hours.
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
It also depends how, everyone has a different opinion on that. Maybe that like helped her discover something. It's like when sleep training, some people feel like you shouldn't do it. Some people feel like there's a middle ground where, you let them cry 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And like, that's normally like a soothing, and past that, something could be up. And some say, just let them cry it out all the way.
Yeah.
What did you do? Not to go off the topic.
We did different things.
Ooh, you experimented with each one.
Yeah. So most recently, we did with the girl who's 15 now. We kind of didn't do sleep training. She slept in our bed for a long time. And then my wife was pregnant again. And we were kind of like, well, we got to move her. We have a new baby coming.
Yeah.
She's like a year and a half, almost 2. So we moved her. And then it was really rocky to readjust her to sleeping in her own room.
Because she would come into your room.
She just was like, what do you mean? I went from having 2 people in my bed to nobody. Stuffed animals aren't cutting it. Like, I'm not into this.
I need the body heat.
Yeah. And there was all this like fear, like now there's no big person watching me. What's happening? And so when the next one came, we were still kind of in this rough thing with the other one with sleep that we were like, we got to try out this sleep training. And she was fine. Actually, it worked right away. And we were like, oh, we really blew it with the older kid. And then we went on vacation and had to have a crib from the hotel. And it was a much shorter crib. And on night 1, this new baby learned to like jump out of the crib.
Really?
Like we woke up with her just like tugging at the side of our bed. And we were like, how are you here? And we took her and put her back in the crib and went back to bed. And like moments later, she was at the side of the bed tugging. And this never happened. And then when we got home, we were like, this crib in our house, her full-time crib is like 5 or 6 feet off, not 6, but probably 4.5.
It's like a castle.
5 feet.
Has a moat.
Much higher. We're like, she's never getting out of here. And night 1, she like pole vaulted out of it and ran to our bed. And we were like, this is
How old was she?
Scary. A year and a half.
That's
I mean, she was
amazing.
really young.
That's like just walking. She's already like climbing off the...
Yeah. And somehow, I never saw it happen. Somehow she was making a 4.5 foot drop out of the side of her crib, unscathed, and running to our room. And it was like this one shitty crib at a hotel that ruined it. And then, anyway, I don't know. I have no answers.
Cool,
yeah. The thing that fucked me up most about kids was a swim camp we took my youngest to. So my wife arranged the swim camp, and she said, you just take them, you walk them back, everybody's really nice, but you have to leave. And I was like, what do you mean? And she said, they don't like parents there. And I said, okay. So day 1, I take her, I sign her in, I get to know the people, everything's fine, there's other kids there, I don't see anybody freaking out. I leave, I pick my kid up, and she is traumatized. And I'm like, tell me about what happened. And she's 3 or 4 at the time and just like was not into it. But come to find out, basically what they were doing is they just take the kid and throw him in the water. Like literally, just chuck the kid in the water in the deep end of the pool and like say swim. And this was very upsetting to my kid. And this is why they don't want parents there. Because if I'm there watching somebody throw my kid in the pool.
But you could just do that yourself, though.
I don't know that I could. I don't know that I'd have the mental fortitude to do that.
Of course. But I feel like is that really, though, how you would learn how to swim, though?
That's not how I learned how to swim.
I know. I don't remember learning. It was like baby steps.
Yeah.
you know, you swam from the side to side and you build confidence.
Yeah.
and then you realize that you could do it, and then
you're swimming.
and then the fear would go away, and then you naturally started to push it. You're like, I want to go to the deep end.
Yeah. This swim camp was.
Did that work?
I mean, she swims now, but I don't think I took her back after I learned that was the way they were teaching.
I don't think I could do that.
No.
I don't think I could leave and just be like, okay with it, especially when they come back and they're like crying or traumatized.
Right.
I'd be like, I'm sorry, that was my fault.
I really thought it was going to be something where they give them like a floaty thing to lean on and teach them to kick and all of that.
Yeah.
And just thought parents were distracting. But apparently the minute the parents are all gone, they're just chucking kids in the pool.
Yeah, that doesn't seem. I mean, I've even seen young. Like, I tried surfing this in May, and I was seeing kids learn, and they all learned with like a sense of like there was safety, and like no one was like being pushed on a wave that would scare them, or like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like it wasn't like they just threw them in the middle of the ocean. So that doesn't. I don't think that's
not. I would be willing to bet
I'd go back and ask those what those kids think about that. I feel like they probably have like a scar.
Yeah, and I also think I don't think you could do this now. This is like 12 years ago. I don't think you'd be able. I mean, I have no idea. Maybe, by the way, we could get notes from people that are like, that is the proven method to teach kids how to swim. I don't fucking know.
Once again, though, I really do feel like it always ends up being in the middle.
Yeah,
With all the things I find. Every extreme I've done has always led me to like being happiest at a reasonable place. And I guess just in personalities, it might take us to go to extremes to find the middle.
Right.
So I'm in the middle, and you're just like not in the middle.
yeah.
But yeah, because that seems like yeah,
It's rough. It seems traumatizing.
for kind of an unnecessary. You know what I mean? We're not like. They don't need to swim.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not.
If you're if you're going on a trip on a boat, it's probably a good idea to know how to swim. If you want to know how to swim, it's a good idea to know how to swim.
But almost to me, it feels like if you're learning how to drive, like to put you in a car crash so you would know what it is.
Right.
And then be like, good, drive. And you're like, what?
Yeah. Here's what it's like
I don't
running
wanna-
into a tree. Don't do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Survive this car
Like their
crash.
biggest fear happened. They thought they're going to drown. And then what? They go to the shallow end and be like, now swim. You'd be
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. There were other real funky things happening that were trends that I think were like taken from thousands of years ago that I don't even know how they had evidence of any of this shit. But like when my last kid was born was a moment in time where girls were having the placenta made into pills and ingesting it. Is that still a thing?
They still do that.
They
yeah.
still do that. So there's all kinds. Like,
Supposedly, you can even take them and like if you worked out on them, you would like feel amped.
really?
Supposedly, I've never taken.
I
them,
mean,
so
but that's a good selling point. I might do that. I know we had stuff frozen for stem cells.
like the cord stuff.
Yeah. We had all that. Like each kid had, which wasn't available to the first two, but the last two, stuff is frozen in some bank in case they need their stem cells one day. They're sitting there, I guess. I don't know how any of that works. But there was like, you can also eat the placenta. And we were like, no, going to pass
Stem
on
cells
that.
seem fascinating.
Yeah.
I've had a few friends. Actually, that guy who we used to go to the gym with,
TJ?
Charlie.
Charlie, yes.
Yeah.
He had stem cells?
Yeah, but he was like this. They do this where they take your own and they harvest it, and I just want it for like my neck, and it just seems fascinating to me that you can put it in and it'll just naturally go where it needs to go, right? It'll just start healing parts of your body.
I have a buddy who went to Colombia and had stem cells shot in his back and says it was amazing. His back and his knee. And I don't know if it's what you're saying where they just inject it to his arm and it figures it out. That might have been
I think there's local stuff. He just says you take blood out. I didn't do enough research, so I feel like I'm talking about it based off of text.
sure.
So it's not like, I could be saying it wrong. Basically, grow stem cells from your own stem cells, and then you do like wherever you need it in the knee or somewhere. You do like 3, and then the rest that you do, you intravenous, and it just goes where
That's
it needs to
amazing.
go. But he was just saying he was able to gain 15 pounds of muscle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But not from doing anything different. And also at an older age. So it's
Right.
like harder to gain.
Yeah.
Which is another thing that bums me out. Is like, you couldn't have done this podcast when we were like 19.
I know.
I'm like, what did I do?
Yeah. I've thought about that a lot too. I've sat in regret for days going like, fuck, it took me so long to figure out, because really I'm not worried about food for the first time, maybe in my whole life, where
That's so cool.
there's no anxiety or anxiousness about it at all. I know what I'm going to eat. I enjoy what I'm eating. The only hiccup in the last 2 years has been a week without salt. Like,
But that was for a purpose, so it
yeah,
wasn't like
it was fine. I
you
might
were-
even do it again this year.
yeah, you were like doing it's different if you're doing it there's a goal in mind.
Right. But it was the only time, like, when I'm cutting, it's fine. I'm never really that hungry. When I'm maintaining, it's fine. I'm never eating out of control or overly worried about, like, am I allowed to eat this? Like, it's just, I've just really calmed down.
Do you feel like the gym is what the consistency of the gym is what like and the progress and like where you got to is just like allowed your mind to ease up on that?
Figuring out that first, I think my point of view just shifted radically. I really did for a long time look at certain foods as bad for me, and I don't do that anymore. Like, even sugar. I could look at sugar and think about sugar in a way where I could go like, here's its usefulness. It could be useful. If I'm doing something cardiovascular over a long period of time, that sugar could help. Like, it could be really beneficial.
But that's where things get blurred. It for sure it can, and actually it's not even beneficial. It's necessary.
Right.
You need it. It's that then that you say that, but then they they'll put sugar in everything.
Right.
And then you're eating all those things and not doing the other thing.
Yeah.
And so it's like you have all this excess sugar, which will just turn into fat.
Yeah, I had no understanding really about how my body was using stuff. You know what I mean? I thought carbs were poisonous and I was going to be fine if I just didn't eat carbs. And
Yeah.
basically I could eat whatever I wanted. And this was just not the case for me. If somebody is doing that and feeling great and having the success that they want to have, I'm not saying it's impossible. It was not the case for me. I lost weight and then I stopped losing weight and then I just have to reduce my food. And so I was, without realizing it, cutting calories while also cutting carbs.
Didn't that put you at lower energy?
I felt like shit.
Yeah, I was. Well, that's the whole thing. Whenever because people always will ask me, we'll be eating, or we'll have discussions of diet, or they'll want to like lose weight, and I always tell them, well, like, don't not eat food. Everyone's thing is like, oh, I'm gonna cut, like I'm not gonna eat food, and I was like, no, that's just gonna store fat, and you're gonna eat your muscle,
Yeah.
and you're gonna end up the yo-yo effect's gonna be worse.
Right.
You have to eat, just to eat healthy, and you do certain portions. It's important to have well-rounded stuff. An immediate cut is like, try to eat like whole foods,
Right.
and that'll already help you
Yeah.
within a few weeks. If you're not like don't eat packaged
Right.
stuff.
Yeah. Shop along the outskirts of the grocery store.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
don't go into
Yeah,
it.
but I'm saying if you just did that, that might even be what some people would be enough.
Yeah.
You know?
I think there are whole diets based around that make perfect sense too.
You don't find some of them a little extreme though, when there's just like, all I have to do is eat meat and fat, and like I understand elements of it, because fat is good for you, and it's how you lose fat too, weirdly enough, is by having certain fats. But I feel like there's also an extreme in that could lead you into like a place that's not good for your organs.
100%. The extreme
Bacon every day is not going to be good for you.
By the
Just
way,
that.
it's also fucking got a lot of sugar in it too, bacon. Like, looking for bacon that hasn't been processed in some way is not easy.
Right, but then you have the other extreme. It's just like, well, good fats are good for you, But if you eat 6 avocados a day, it's still a lot of fat,
A lot of fat.
right?
Yeah.
So it's like you do want your omegas and stuff, and you want the good fats for your body, nervous system, all that. But it's like this. So both sides like need to be balanced. That's why whenever I hear them, I just feel like you're missing. You just took out one side that cuts something.
Right.
So it'll get you to somewhere, of course.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And for the people who have done that and are having long-term success, I say hats off. Like, good for you. It didn't seem to be that way for me, you know? And so the happiest, most successful, most like tangible goals that I've achieved have just been in moderation.
I know you say hats off, and I was laughing because I was like, I didn't want to seem like I wasn't saying hats off too. Yes, of course, but I've never seen someone like that over 10 years.
Right.
I've never been like where someone's like, I've been living this way for 10 years. It's always been like it'll go really good, and then like something had to change because of something else,
Right.
or like health issue, or like, you know, we're all aging, so eventually we'll have to like eat less or curb certain things because our body just can't process it the same way as when we were 20. You know?
Yeah. I don't know a single person who has done. I know a vegan dude who has remained pretty healthy. That's the one extreme guy I know who seems to be doing good.
I think that's because vegan is almost less of a diet, right, and more of like
It's a moral thing.
more of like a life. I mean, I understand it in some ways too. Like I've curbed my consumption of meat. I do think there's something we're gonna have to do about that eventually. Anyways,
I asked this guy yesterday. Somebody sent me something where they're 3D printing steaks now.
Yeah, that's what Bill Gates was saying. I should have like in the lab.
Yeah.
Is it 3D printing what they're doing it? I thought it was like they were
3D
growing it.
I think they do that too, but this one is literally some kind of a biological 3D printer, and they take beef cells.
So like it's how you would rebuild in a movie your heart and like put it in.
And they have 3D printed ribeye steaks. And I asked my buddy, like, would you eat this? And he was like, I don't like how rotting animal flesh tastes, so no. And I was just like, okay, not for you. It's not solving this problem for you. I bet, but I think it is probably
I don't
solving
like
it
how,
for somebody.
so he does eat meat?
No, he
Oh, he
doesn't. He
doesn't.
doesn't like it.
Oh, right. But I'm saying the person eating the meat, it would solve having.
Whatever issue you could have.
You wouldn't get a vegan to eat it. No,
Right.
I'm not saying that, but you would solve the problem of what cows contribute to global warming and
Right. Whatever issues there
all
are.
that.
Yeah. I find
Also, it's kind of I don't like the way I do feel like meat should be a little. I don't know. I want to say like more expensive, but just like we should treat something that gives us so much just a little better. I feel
the videos coming out of these mass-produced places are horrifying.
I just feel like it's unnecessary. Like, like if there is a little bit we can take, you take little bits of things. Like there's something special. Like I don't mind eating an animal, but at least like know that it's giving you something pretty amazing.
Right.
So don't like treat it like it's like whatever. It feels wrong. It just feels wrong.
It is to some degree providing life to
Right.
us.
So I'm saying it should be a little more special than
I
just
think
like
it's special. Yeah.
treating it like shit.
In my fantasy, but I had a steak in Japan once where it was served with a picture of the cow and the dudes who raised the cow. And like there were 4 dudes per cow that are like assigned to the cow. And the steak was insanely expensive
Yeah.
and unbelievably delicious. But I had this going like, I'm into this. Like this makes sense to me. I don't know that we need 4 people per animal. Like that could get.
I just mean you don't need
extreme.
to. They're so close together that you stuff them with antibiotics.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
That's all.
Right. There, I think
Like,
there's
they
better
I just,
way.
Yeah, you don't need to like, or the chickens they got to burn the beaks because they're all like this and they peck each other. It's like, that's an interesting solution.
Right.
Or I like, is it if we each had a little less, would that like help? Or maybe this 3D printing thing. I mean, I would totally be down for trying. When you cook something, I don't even know if I would know. I never see a full bird anyways.
No.
I don't even know if I would gut and be able to eat a full bird if I had to do it all
Right.
myself.
Yeah.
So technically, what's the difference if it was printed in the packaging that you see that you get given?
Yeah. I mean, the printer
I'm
could
not a
print
butcher,
the packaging too. You imagine if it's just printing everything, the fucking packaging.
So you can eat it. It's like made with like the packaging is it's no
also
no waste.
biological, right? That's a good idea.
You can eat the packaging is meat based.
But then we get into shelf life and we start having to put additives in it because the packaging, a non-consumable package.
No, sure,
will
okay, we
last
got
forever.
carried away there.
Yeah,
okay,
we
away.
went to the extreme again.
We were just, I was gonna say we were just kind of like daydreaming of like, oh, cool, the whole thing could eat like no waste.
Yeah,
So it's always exciting, and sometimes you have to bring it back down.
yeah.
Yeah,
like an apple is a good version of no waste, except for the core. But then it's got a
because
purpose.
if you put it back if you threw it into the ground,
grow a new apple tree.
yeah, and it would give whatever it biodegrades. It's good for the soil and stuff like that.
And I think in practice, if you eat those seeds and then shit them into the ground, they're now in some kind of super nutrient dense fertilizer.
I see what I'm going to do this weekend.
Yeah, just out in the forest planting apple trees.
I did that. I've created this.
Yeah. I think anytime, and we experience it here maybe more than anywhere else on earth, when you have somebody presenting something as the only thing that works for everyone, this becomes somebody either trying to sell you something or somebody that's made some kind of ethical or moral judgment on your behalf.
Sure.
And is saying, like, I've determined that your value should be X, and based on that, here is the way you should exist. And I'm just not interested.
No, I mean, you can already see that with how someone would get sick and not get sick, or everyone handles it differently depending on what's inside all the stuff we don't know. Even when I get blood work done, I need different things than you might need, and we could be in the same house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same family, and it still would just be different.
Yeah.
Genetically. So yeah, you can only encompass everyone in like to get to a certain place. Like you could say eating healthy is X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Just because it's. But then again, sometimes a certain person, even though fruit's healthy, they might be having too much and not enough of something else, and so it throws an imbalance.
But I think when you talk about whole foods, to me, it makes the most sense that if the majority of what you're eating, it seems
like common sense, right? You're like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, of course, this ground and animals. Like, why would that would be? I'd be the healthiest I could be. Sure.
Yeah, that's what I think, and
sure.
that doesn't even seem extreme to me.
No, and in fact, I feel like it would teach you like how to put things together and cook, and like it's a whole process.
Yeah,
which I actually I love that a lot. We cook a lot at the house. Our kitchen is like used.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Right. Especially now, there's a lot less. I mean, I don't know. Are you allowed to go to restaurants now?
I think it's open a little bit, but like I was telling a friend who wanted to go, I was like, it's been so long, I don't even know where to go,
right,
or how I would go about doing it.
Yeah, it's a whole new process.
It's unfortunate. I'm just glad I was able to stay active the whole time.
Yeah, How did you stay active? What are you doing?
My trainer did like in the park or at his place. He had outdoors.
Nice.
And then we went to the gym and just wore a mask.
Yeah.
I guess everyone feels comfortable doing whatever they feel comfortable with, and I felt comfortable like that.
Yeah.
I felt like sunlight, eating right, exercise would be more beneficial than not.
Yeah. I'm totally with you. I the first 3 months, I didn't leave my house a lot.
Well, it's new. I mean, it's like
and I was exercising there every day, but it was not fulfilling. Maybe spiritually, I don't know what.
No, that you do. How many repetitions do you do in your hour of working out? You know how many things that triggers in your mind. How many?
Yeah. But it's been fine. I look forward to coming out more and more of this. I think we're we have to be nearing something where the number of people who have had it and who have been vaccinated, we got to be nearing herd immunity, right?
Yeah.
At some point. And then maybe we have a little period of tentative readjustment, and then let's
it's
get
like
the
being in the
fucking
pool.
party
it's like
started.
building your confidence back up into going out. But yeah, I wish they would have brought that up in that whole time though. Like in the panic, like no one ever mentioned like, you know, go and eat, you know, make sure you're eating whole foods and try. Obviously,
Yeah.
like they just made it, you know, seem like you're just stuck and eat ice cream and play video games and
Right.
end up being in a worse position.
I think it's been rough with
It's what they do that with pregnant women too. Like, have whatever you want.
yeah.
Like, wait, why? You're growing something.
Yeah.
Have really good stuff.
You should eat
Sure.
extra. Be
There's
extra
always, when I
diligent.
say that, just know there's always like, you live at a, you know, 80% is a lot. Say you do 70, 30, 80, 20. That's amazing. You don't,
Yeah.
nothing's 100%. I don't mean like,
Right.
you know, then you'll just break and,
But I always think of, and this was never my wife's experience, but when I was first around a pregnant woman that I was helping to care for and stuff, I was like, when are you going to want ice cream and pickles? Like, when's that going to happen? Because I want to watch that. You know, I'll help you prepare.
and what did
it.
she say?
Never happened. But like I had this vision of like she's just gonna sit with like tubs of ice
Pancakes
cream
every
and
day.
pickles. Yeah, something like that. And it didn't happen. It was a lot of vitamins and
My wife has like kefir.
Yeah.
Kefir, I don't know how to pronounce it. Like healthy whole fats with probiotics and stuff like that. Or when we get pho, the
Yeah.
beef broth, you know, like
super nutrient
yeah,
dense.
like just like stuff like that. The salts. I mean, it makes sense. You're like building something from scratch. Probably it just takes. You need all these minerals and vitamins that you might not give yourself normally if you don't eat right.
Right. And if you don't, the baby steals them from the mom.
Oh yeah,
Like I know my wife never had a cavity prior to having the first kid.
really.
And then having the first kid changed the calcium in her body, and she suddenly had cavity. It was like
Isn't
weird.
that the thing they always say, like a kid kind of like, or maybe they say that in like not out loud, but like it takes a little bit from the mom, I guess.
Yeah,
It has to,
yeah,
right? Because they're making something, so a little bit leaves with you.
right. And if you're not replenishing that,
We don't
just gone.
get that, but we also don't have that closeness of like, this was something, you know, inside of me.
right, dude, it always trips me out thinking about babies and how babies are made. And now that we talked about 3D printing a steak, I'm only thinking about
3D
women.
printing a baby.
I'm just thinking about how women have some kind of a natural,
Oh, yeah.
weird 3D printer in their bodies
Yeah, it's
that's making other bodies. It's fucking weird.
And how it grows first too. Like it doesn't really looks like a alien tadpole with like a tail and like,
Yeah.
and then it grows into this thing. And I keep thinking that I feel so claustrophobic for her. I was like, get out of there. It's so tight.
Yeah.
I guess that they're comfortable, but in my head, I'd be wanting to get out so bad.
Yeah. And have you had the alien moment where like
Oh yeah.
the baby's elbow will cross her
A
stomach?
foot comes. She has
Yeah.
the placenta on the front,
Okay.
so I haven't been able to feel like the kick so much. But yeah, I've definitely seen like this thing poking out across.
Yeah. That is
then-
so trippy.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really.
It's a fucking adventure.
It doesn't.
man.
It does not get old. Like nothing about it, and it still feels. I think we're gonna go to the hospital, and she's gonna have the baby. But like, I still can't process that I'm gonna be coming home with something.
Yeah.
Like I just feel like she won't have a stomach, and that'll have been the fun 9-10 months that we had.
Right.
And we just go on with life.
No, dude. Then the real adventure begins.
You know, like we're gonna drive something home, and it's gonna be in the car seat.
Yeah. Yeah. And you will have I had so much the amount of like, here's how we have to do everything was so much stronger with the first one than it was with the last. Like by the time we got to the last, she started pole vaulting out of her crib, and it was like probably dangerously too high. We didn't lower the
I know, but I'm
crib.
trying to people have said that, and I'm trying to tone down what I would do to the first baby, just because everyone has said, like, I wish I was a little lighter with the first, because like I feel like they don't need all the sound machines in their room or stuff like that. Just like kind of like let them go with the flow with you.
Yeah.
And just like love them and feed them, but like don't be too doting, because then you just kind of create something unnecessary, because unnecessary.
Right.
It always seems like the children after are they're better adaptable at things.
Dude, I cannot believe that people figured it out before there were baby Bjorns. Like, there was a point in time where it was just like,
Dude, I didn't have a car seat.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I was not 3 years old and had a car seat. There was no, you have a car seat till you're like 10 now.
Yeah.
I definitely did not have a car seat at that age.
Yeah. I think it's very hard to avoid some of this stuff. First of all, you drive with a baby without a car seat, you're going to get arrested.
No, of course, I'm not. I have a car seat.
Yes, no, I know.
Yeah.
When you were a kid, I didn't either. I don't remember ever sitting in a
that was
car
the
seat.
joke with the mom seatbelt. Like they'd put their hand out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't even have. When I was a kid, my mom was smoking cigarettes in the car with the windows rolled up. Like, this
or
is how
they'd
we
crack
were
it
raised.
just a little bit to etch.
Yeah.
You might get arrested for that now.
I'm sure you
Or
would.
someone would definitely yell at you.
Right. Yeah.
That's right. I
So
totally
much
forgot
has
about
changed.
that.
But like, there
I
was
could go buy cigarettes. I used to buy cigarettes for my dad it was an El Torito, and you just go to the machine. It's like $2.
I just think like at some point, people were just setting their babies down on a pile of leaves and like going off to make dinner, and like the babies were fine.
Well, we wouldn't be here if they weren't.
Right. Some of them probably got snatched by lions. Okay.
So wait, so there's the moderation.
Right.
I'm not going to leave her outside at night.
There you go. That as long as we're not doing that, we're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moderation.
Well, that's what they did back in the day. It's like, but they also had nine kids.
Right.
Because some of them weren't going to make it.
Right. Yeah. This was the wild thing about the average lifespan that I found. I don't know how I figured this out or where this theory came from, but when we think about how far the average lifespan, I think I was having an argument with somebody about Supreme Court judges, and they were taking the position.
Oh, because it's for life?
Yeah, they were taking the position like, no, when this rule, it's for life, was made, the average lifespan was like 35. And so now that the average lifespan is nearly 80, it's crazy that it's for life. And I said, I don't think that's the way it works. And when you go back and you look, almost every Supreme Court judge has lived to 80 or above, going back to Supreme Court Judge number 1.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, all of them lived nice old ages. A couple of them died under that, but they weren't dying at 35, that's for sure.
But what was the response to that then?
Well, if you look, it's
The internet lied to you.
It's infant mortality rates. So, like you're saying, they had 9 kids because a bunch of them got. If a ton of kids are getting wiped out, then it pulls the average lifespan way down. But it's not real. Once you get past being a kid, the average lifespan hasn't changed all that much.
Oh, interesting. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I do think we have a much larger aged population now than we ever have before. And so this is going to become some kind of existential crisis with Social Security in the future, if not now.
Why? What do you...
Just like when that was invented, people, retired, lived a few years and died. And so, unfortunately.
No, I know you. I know what you mean. I even see it in where my parents are compared to my grandparents are like, it's like ridiculous.
Yeah.
My grandparents at their age seemed a lot older than how my parents seem.
Right. So I just think people are living longer also, but those few years become more expensive because suddenly you're dealing with like caretakers again, almost like they're children again, but they just need a lot.
So all this
more.
time I've been paying Social Security, I'm not going to get it, am I? By the time?
I have no idea. I would not count on it. I wouldn't count. I'm not counting on Social Security for anything. I mean, it'd be nice, but I mean, who fucking knows? It doesn't seem like the math works, but this could just be another instance where the Fed says, here's a few more $1 trillion and you're covered. And
right. Maybe by then it won't even be cash.
Right. It'll be some kind of a
You know, I mean,
crypto
cash
thing.
isn't really. I mean, it kind of makes sense why it would go into crypto, right? Because cash doesn't really exist.
Well, now we get
It's not backed by anything. We create it, and we make a rule, and everyone abides by it.
Yeah. I think, though, that there's so much concentrated wealth in the U.S. dollar that there will be a like there was a war on drugs and a war on terror. There will be a war on currency.
War on terror.
Before the Fed allows us to switch over to something like Bitcoin. It will just be the Fed will pick something.
What kind of war would it be, though?
I have no idea.
Wow, that's interesting. That's our next
You
war
think
on
of
currency.
all the old wealthy political captains of industry, these people, that kind of money.
They won't allow it
That's
to switch
not
over.
in cryptocurrency. That's
No,
in,
right, but I don't think they'll say you have to start from scratch. I think you
whatever it is, because there was a thing where they tried to I think it was they tried to pass a law where banks were creating digital wallets for every U.S. citizen, and the government, I'm sure, will just pick or invent some cryptocurrency and say this is taking the place of the dollar, and whatever you have, now you have this.
right,
in
exactly.
this.
That makes more sense than putting it into something that might have a value that would shrink your. Well, I guess it wouldn't shrink it if they gave it to you in Bitcoin. It would just be weird because it almost seems like inflation because one would equal 50,000.
Right.
Like going to Italy in the 90s.
Yeah. I don't think
You got
they
a million
can allow
lira
that.
for your coffee?
Yeah. Or they're going to just artificially destroy the value of the dollar to the point where we're begging them to
But
switch
wouldn't
it
that
out.
just affect? I just feel like the whole world's so connected. You couldn't do that anymore without people. The rest of the world would be feeling it.
Because you're right.
You'd have
because
to,
of,
when it happens, it's going to be globally.
Yeah.
It'll be one currency, and that's kind of what all the movies they've created: one outfit, one currency.
well, I mean, I don't think it'll be one currency. I think it'll be specific to the U.S. because our economy is kind of based on forcing other countries to buy and sell oil with U.S. dollars as opposed to whatever currency they're using.
Wow.
So our economy fails if we go to one currency.
Oh my
If we
god.
go to a global currency. See what I mean? There will
Yeah,
be
yeah,
a
yeah.
war on
Oh, no,
currency.
yeah.
I don't know how it's going to work. I mean, all the wars in
I
the
did
Middle
not know
East
that.
are on
So
currency to some
I
degree.
should just come here once a week to just like chat about all this stuff. This
all
is
of this
amazing.
stuff, yes. And we'll get canceled eventually because we'll say the wrong thing, for sure.
He said one currency.
Yeah, one currency to rule them all. Albert, thank you so much for coming. This
No,
has
man,
been
my-
an awesome conversation.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And now for the Q&A.
Rich has a question for you.
Hi, Rich.
Thoroughly enjoying your podcast and have been a longtime fan. I've been on my own personal journey at my highest of 530 pounds down to 240, back up to 330, and now losing again at around 280. So I'm a larger guy at 6'2" like yourself, and I want to start building muscle. Do I stop trying to lose weight and start working out, or continue my low-calorie diet and just add in some weight training?
Thanks for the question, Rich. Yeah, I suggest at 280 probably to just add in some weight training. At 280, you probably have a decent amount of muscle. And so the idea would just be to really instruct your body to hold on to that while you continue to lose fat. And the way you do that is by lifting weights. That's what I would suggest doing. Yeah, that's my suggestion.
Awesome.
Yeah, lift some weights, pick up heavy things. Thank you for your question. If you have a question that you would like me to answer on this program, please submit it to AmericanGlutton.net. Thanks for listening to this episode of American Glutton. I'm Ethan Suplee, and as always, joined by my chaperone, Paige Dorian. Follow us on Instagram at American Glutton Podcast. Sincerely.